welcome everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Chrissy, and today I'll be giving you a prediction reading for the 3rd of September. Now, if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like buttons, guys, and comment down below. You know, I love hearing from you. We've built a great little community here on my channel, and we've named it Terra, meaning beautiful earth, because we've managed to find some freedom in this chaotic world that we're currently living in. So I'll just close my eyes, we'll get started, and we'll see what comes up. Now, it's very important, and this message is for you guys watching my channel. It's very important that we focus on our own plans. We know the Great Reset rollout plan, agenda, whatever you want to call it, is being pushed upon people. We know that. But we also, as people who have stood up against government and who have resisted what they've been dishing out to us, we have to keep our focus on our own plans. And this is the message for us at this time. We have to keep moving forward. And I've said that a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, that we need to kind of create visions and manifest things and create things into our life. And that's what I'm getting today. It's very important that we focus on our own plans moving forward. Doesn't matter what other people are doing or what they're rolling out. Just because they're trying to roll something out, as we know here on my channel, doesn't mean that it always comes to fruition, because they get pushbacks from the people as well. Because when you don't incorporate the people, as we know here, in the decision-making process, things tend to collapse because the people stand up against it. So that's why it's very important that we start to make our plans about moving forward. Whether that's, like a lot of us here are becoming very independent, people leave their smartphones at home, we're sort of, I guess you could say we're rebuilding our life over here is what we've been doing, in a very simplified way. Our lives, I guess if we sort of all got together in a room and we all talked about it, our lives would be pretty uncomplicated for most of you on my channel. I'm guessing we don't live very complicated lives. We've gone back to a lot of the simple things in life, basically, and we've turned our back on a lot of the, how would you say it? A lot of the things that are kind of beyond our control and that are really en masse. For example, I watched something this morning about the renewables and the guy rolling it all out, and they're just on their own agenda, aren't they? And you guys would hear it too with people, all your politicians and things that are rolling things out. But it's just so unrealistic, because they don't think from the perspective of the little people. They don't think, oh, have I got time? And we know this has been happening globally with all the Teslas and electric cars. Have I got time to queue up for 3 hours to try and get my car charged up? Because that's where we're at the moment. There's not enough infrastructure. There's not enough charging stations. This is the kind of stuff that they haven't thought through on their great plans and drafts moving forward. So this is why it affects the little people so much, because we live from a whole different, well, we know that here. We live very differently to these elite global leaders and people who are in charge and trying to implement their agendas. So that's why it's very important for us to remain in that very simplified life. Look, I am a realist, and I'm not saying that we're not going to have to change and that things might evolve. We know things evolve with time. It was like I talked about the brick phone the other day. We all had dial phones, and then we got the brick phones, and then we got the smartphones, unfortunately. Yes, they can track and trace us and know everything about us. But I guess that's progress. We know things have to change, but it's when our freedoms get taken away that starts to affect us, and we know that's what they're doing. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I have been saying a lot about Switzerland, Germany, France, a lot of these regions. I think they're really hitting you hard. I've kind of concluded that they're hitting you hard with the renewables and this electrical, you know, there's a shortage of electricity apparently, and everything's a shortage of everything, isn't it, pretty much, just so they can roll out their agenda. We know what's going on. So I feel like that's what's kind of happening in those regions at the moment. We cop that down here. I think Canada, you got it too. God, in Australia, they were telling us that we had to turn the heaters off. You know how it goes. Absolutely ridiculous. Australia's got so many resources, and yet we've got an electrical shortage. Like I said, I live in a region where we have the snowy electric power system, which is run through the dams and the water. Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Just the lies that they feed people. And at the same time, see, this is how hypocritical it is. I think I told you at the same time they had the big Live Light show or something in Sydney. So the whole of Sydney was lit up with electricity. And yet people had to turn their heaters off. The little granny had to turn her heater off because she was wasting power. You see, this is what people have seen. It's just hypocritical. This will be happening where you guys are as well. So this is the kind of stuff. We know things are going to evolve and we know things are going to modernise, but it's like we've chosen, and this is you watching my video, to live this very simple life around all of this. Because I keep saying we're not in this. We get the ripple effect. I still say we do get, affected by these kind of things, but we're not actually in it. We chose to leave that COVID agenda story a long time ago. So that's where we're at. We're really needing now to focus on our plans moving forward and what direction we want to go in. And it doesn't matter what those plans are, but you just have to start trying to visualize and capitalize on the things around you, the environment that you're living and that kind of thing, and what opportunities you've got. I'll just see where else we go. Hang on a second. I'm getting Belgium, Munich, France. Oh, you've got a lot of diehard rebels over there. They're saying there's going to be big fight backs. You've got some tough resistance over there in these parts. They're showing me that image of Mel Gibson, like the Bravehearts. You've got some really big Braveheart fighters in these regions. So there's going to be a lot of standing up in these areas and a lot of fight backs. And they may not be strikes. I feel like people are going to just really come hard at government in these regions. Let's see where else we get. Yeah, and what the guides are saying is this reset agenda is really starting to disturb people now. They're getting really frightened. I talked about them yesterday being frightened to stand up to government. These people waking up, and that they were quivering in their boots. But it's scaring them more, the thought of where their life is headed. I said that as well. I think they're actually really disturbed about it. Like, how can these people in this, well, like we thought, in this modern day and age, like, we look back at like Hitler and Stalin, and I think it was it Gaddafi? Oh, I can't remember his name. We look back at these people and these cruel dictators, and people are just so disturbed that this could even be real, that someone like Klaus Schwab could exist. A German dictator, deja vu. But people just can't believe it. It's really disturbed them. And you think about it, when you're feeling like really disturbed or something really isn't sitting right with you, it starts to make you feel like physically sick, because you start to panic. And it's like showing me, and it's giving me that sense that they're really feeling sick in their gut now. This is making people like physically sick. And it would actually, not us, we're not in this, but what I'm saying to you is that it's affecting their bodies. And we know this is part of the soul breakdown, because you have to start listening to your senses. You have to start listening to your gut feelings. You have to start being receptive to the messages and the information that you're getting, and open up to it more to start to see the truth. But these people, see, it's that gut feeling. And I always say it here. I've got videos on gut feelings and sixth senses and all this sort of stuff. It's very unusual for your body to give you misinformation. Your body is very good at telling you the truths. And an example of that I've got in my video, I think, is like, you might go to buy a car, but you just get that gut feeling there's something kind of not quite right, and should you get it? And if you don't listen to that gut feeling, it always comes back and catches up with you. So, you might buy the car and then it ends up being a lemon, or there's just something faulty about it. And then in hindsight, you wish you'd listened to that little message or that little voice in your head, or that weird feeling you got in your gut. Could even be about a person. Gosh, how many of us get gut feelings and hits about people all the time? Oh my God. And usually it's pretty right, because like I said, your body doesn't really give you misinformation. It's usually pretty accurate with the feelings that you receive. So that's what's happening to these people now. They're having to listen to it because they're really getting like quite distressed, and it's shocking to them. Like I said, this is shocking. You see, people had no clue that the reset and all of this is real, and they're still trying to piece it together. Like I said, they're not like us. They don't get the reset agenda. We get the reset agenda, and we're getting more of what's under the iceberg. We know the tip of the iceberg, but there's a lot more underneath. But these people are just starting to wake up to the tip of the iceberg, because they're starting to realize that maybe all these things are together. So that's where they're going to realize eventually, maybe not at the moment, and this is why it takes time. They're going to realize that this is all under the one umbrella, the Great Reset umbrella. They'll realize, and that's going to be their real tipping point and waking up moment, when they join those dots. They might have to put the numbers in between and draw them in themselves, because we know there's a lot of on the dot to dot drawing. I often talk about there's a few numbers missing because nothing's adding up for them at the moment, but they'll work it out. They'll work it out, because they're getting stronger. I said that yesterday. They're getting more stable on their feet now to sort of, and more receptive to the information, because government has stopped at the minute knocking them down like they were with the waves of stuff that was coming at them, renewables, food, farmers. They were attacking everybody, but they've eased off a little bit. But don't worry, there's more. It's not stopped yet. Oh my God. Okay, let's see where else we get. What else we get, rather. God, for some reason I'm getting Baghdad. Did anybody see that Biden little rant that he had the other day with the red lights behind him? It was just so horrible and wicked, and it was like virtually calling out war on everybody. He's oh my God. But I'm getting Baghdad. See, at the moment there's a lot of this global fight for resources, and I think we're all aware of that here on my channel. Everybody is trying to bring their resources in really close. If you think of most countries, and I've talked about America feeling a little bit vulnerable, if you think of all these global leaders and people in charge, they're trying to bring their resources closer to them, so they've got, I guess you could say, currency with other countries, so it gives them power. We know that's how this works. Oh gosh, you don't need to be a rocket scientist, do you, to know that if you've got resources, you've got power. And we know that China loves to have power, i.e., for example, that all these countries are trying to really contain their resources, so it's almost like something to trade with. So if you've got something to trade with, that puts you on the world stage. That's what I'm getting. And see, this is, again, I talked about it the other day, about those reset leaders competing with each other and all that. Well, it's not just the WEF reset leaders. We're talking global leaders, rather, competing with each country's now competing with each other. It's so ridiculous. So we know this is about power, wealth, money, status. We know what it's all about here on my channel, and that's what I'm getting now. Whoever's got the most resources has the most power, so you can trade. See, if you haven't got that sort of the things that people want, then you're not of great value, because you've got nothing to sort of exchange, that exchange of goods. So again, it comes back to that power. So they're really hanging on to their resources. Mind you, China owns heaps of stuff here in Australia, so I don't know how that's going to work. Obviously, China's buying everything up. And I'm sure this happens where you guys are as well. There's just this, but there is this real protection of the resources. Each country's like pulling it in, and they're competing with each other. And we know that's the case, isn't it? They all want to be the king of the castle. Oh God, it's just so painful. Forgetting about all us little peasants and people down here who are trying to survive. Oh my God, and now they're competing with each other. Oh God, we know how it goes. Hang on, let's see what else we get. So I'm definitely getting that they're all protecting now their resources, because it's really important, especially if they're pushing this global renewables moving forward. Hang on, let's see what else we get. We'll leave them to have their own fight up there. Oh my God. I guess it's a good thing while these people in charge and all their countries and everything are all like competing. It keeps their mind off us, so we got more chance to make our plans and keep escaping and keep waking people up by sharing our information. Not around the jab. I always tell you not to bother with that. Just everything else, and highlight these things to people so they go and do their research. So meanwhile, let's keep doing that while all these leaders are competing for their resources. Oh my God. Oh, it's all about power and dollar, isn't it? Oh my God. Oh, I'm sure Big Pharma fits in there somewhere. God knows how. They probably own a few coal mines or something like that. I don't even know. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, who knows? Let's see what else we get. I'm getting Australia and New Zealand again. I've been getting a lot about Australia and New Zealand. And this could be about the rising, like the rising up. People aren't going to tolerate it anymore. I keep saying here how Australians are a bit gutless, and they really are. But there's also been these protests in Melbourne, because I was saying yesterday how Dan Andrews is standing for the vote in November. He's coming up for election. Fingers it's not rigged. We know a lot of them are. I know a lot of you guys on my channel know they are. So this is what is happening in Melbourne. People are starting to fight back, and they're fighting back about mainstream media. There's doctors coming out, and these are in large groups. These aren't little protests. None on the news, and you won't see this globally. It is on our feeds because we follow a lot of people from Melbourne here in Australia, a lot of people who are freedom fighters that stand up. I said that Reunite Democracy Australia. You can go check that YouTube channel out if you like. It's got a lot of little videos from Monica on there that will keep you in the loop with what's happening here in Australia. So there are people starting to stand up, mostly Melbourne, yes, the most locked down city in the world, like I keep saying. But I do get New Zealand. New Zealand's getting braver. They've had a gutful of Jacinda Ardern and her wicked ways. I always call her a bit wicked because she laughs when she's being interviewed, when she's putting out really evil things, and then she's laughing. It was like that video of, I don't know if any of you went and had a look at it, Perrottet and Dan Andrews bringing out their wonderful medical clinics. Obviously their mate's getting the big kickback. The company they paid, I don't know, was it $70 million, something crazy. So someone's getting the money again. And they were like, Dan Andrews was practically laughing during the whole interview. It was absolutely just, it's like so obvious. Well, it's obvious to all of us. And so I'm getting Australia, New Zealand. There's still this like, it's like uprising, but it's that shaking energy. It's shaking people up. They're kind of showing me like salt and pepper shakers. They're shaking. You shake your salt and pepper shakers and then you sprinkle it on your meal. Well, it's like by these Australians and New Zealanders standing up, it's sprinkling the truth out on top of people. So people are being forced to kind of look at it, and that's kind of the analogy of the salt and pepper, that shaking things up. But the information comes out. So that's what happens when we're all starting to spread information and share things. It starts to come out like the salt and pepper shakers. I'll just see where else we go. So yeah, there's definitely movement in Australia and New Zealand. Getting that London Bridge is falling down again. And I know a lot of you guys say that around the Queen and all that. And I did talk about the subways having a few changes, like renewables and all this stuff in London. But I do get that London Bridge is falling down. So there's this like falling down energy. And that could also be around this transition with your new leader coming in. There could be a lot of changes. That's London I've had for a couple of days now. So there's a lot of changes and shifts going on there. And also, well, I always tell you to be careful of the distractions with the monarchy and the royals and that, because we know that's always put in our face for a reason, to keep our mind on something else while all the leaders are bringing in everything else. So just be aware of distractions again in London and around these regions, or the regions around London. But there's definitely, maybe people are going to rise up in London. Maybe that's why we're getting London a lot. Maybe they are going to fight back. Oh, it'll be interesting to see, won't it? Hang on, let's see where else we go. I think it was you, Danielle, said that Quebec's actually having some walk in on the 17th, is it of September or something like that? I hope it's that global walk, because apparently Monica from that Reignite Democracy Australia, there is a global walkout that I think they're trying to... I'll let you know if what's happening with that, because I don't know much about it, what it actually entails. I'll let you guys know, or like I said, go and subscribe to that website, and then to that channel rather, and then you'll get to know a little bit more. So let's see where else we go today. Yeah, these people waking up, they're feeling feelings of despair, they're discouraged, they're overwhelmed, they're finding out about the credit scoring system, and that's absolutely unnerving them now. A lot of people are finding out about the credit scoring system. These things are happening. These things are happening globally. My husband was actually telling me the other day, I think it was in the UK, someone he knew, their relative, went to get their money out of the bank, and they got asked a lot of questions as to what they were spending it on and why did they need it. And she said, I don't need to disclose that information. And the person at the bank said, oh, we're just taking note of what you're using it for. And it was like an abnormal situation. So I guess we could say that people are waking up now to this credit scoring system. Get your money out of the bank, says a tip for everybody, isn't it? Oh my God, probably a good time to do that. If anybody, God, my husband had some money the other day that someone had paid him. And I had to get some out of the till, and it stunk. It was so stinky, and I couldn't work out the smell. And I'm like, oh, was this person a smoker? It smelled like rotten fish. And then it ended up, he told me later, that the person had it hidden in the ground, like in a plastic bag in the ground. They'd been hiding all their cash. Oh my God, because you think of all the farmers and stuff like that. So they're stashing their cash. See, even a lot of these cockies and these farmers and things, they're onto it. They're not stupid, are they? They've probably yanked their money out of the bank. So there's a tip right there. Maybe get a better kind of container, because this money did really stink. It was real danky, horrible smell. They had to wash it, actually. Tim ended up washing the notes because they stunk that much. Oh my God, what is the world coming to? Seriously. So this is what people are waking up to. They don't want this credit scoring system, and you've got to earn this many points in order to get your money out. And God, you know in Canada how it goes. It's just getting absurd. So they're waking up and they don't like it. These people waking up don't like it. Oh my goodness. Hang on. And see what's going through these people's minds, not ours, because we're not in this. They're saying to themselves, someone has to do something now. This is what's going through people's heads. So it's showing me like words going through this is people waking up. Someone has to do something. We have to do something before it's too late. We have to do, God, I hope that causes the global uprising. I really do. But they do have to do something before it's too late, because this is happening if they like it or not, unless they stand up and say, we don't want it. The thing is, there's zillions of us, isn't there? And only a handful of these elite people in charge and power sitting in their ivory towers. Oh, it's so frustrating if we just all stood up. So that's what I'm getting for these people. They're getting those messages. Maybe they're getting their guidance about you need to stand up really quickly because your life's about to be taken away from you and lose all your freedom. Oh my God. So they are getting those messages now. I'm getting that. They're sensing, oh, we have to do something. Something has to happen. Someone has to do something. Why do they always leave it to someone else? Why don't they do it themselves? I don't understand. They left it to all of us. Well, they all thought we were crazy conspiracy theorists, didn't they? Not anymore, they don't. I can tell you that right now. They're seeing this with clarity. Don't worry, clarity. Because more and more truths are coming out. Hang on. I'll see if there's something to close with today. Yeah, and they're saying that government's getting frustrated now because these people aren't behaving. And every time I think about that, I think about that Pink Floyd song of the school kids tossing up the chairs and everything, which was us. But they're not behaving now. These kids are going to start fighting back, and they're going to become rebels as well, because they want to get out of the narrative. They don't want to stay stuck in, obviously. I mean, who wants to go down the road of communism. Nobody. So they're not doing as they're told, and they're not complying, which is great. That's what we need to hear. So government's getting frustrated because they're not doing as they're told. See, even like I said here with the strikes we're having in Australia, they're trying to contain that, and they even gave, remember I told you they gave all the nurses that worked through COVID some $3,000 bonus, and that was like just to shut them up. We know it was a few months ago, and now they're still rising up, so they're still protesting despite getting their bonus and everything. So that hasn't worked. So government would be getting all frustrated because they're not behaving and doing as they're told, and then government's not able to kind of silence them. It's so good, isn't it? Oh, I love it. So that's what I'm getting. Government's getting frustrated now with these people's behaviour because it's going on and on here. I'm sure it is where you guys are, but we're having strike after strike. Like I said, trains, buses, and it's inconveniencing all the little people, but it's annoying. It's annoying all these leaders and that because it keeps putting the spotlight on their agenda reset, and they don't like it. So these children, naughty children they're becoming, which is so good. We need these people waking up to become naughty children and rebels and fight back. They're not doing as they're told, and it's causing a lot of frustration in government. Hang on, just see if there's something to close with today. Yeah, like it's saying like people are scared. It's saying these people are scared to fight back, and I've been telling you that for a while, but it's showing me they're like, they've got, oh my God, seriously, the things I get on this channel. It's showing me these people waking up have now picked up a chair and they've got like a whip, and it's like they're going towards a lion. You know when you see someone fighting with a lion in a circus or something, but that government is the lion. And now these people have got their chairs, so they're trying to fight back to the best that they can, meaning a chair's not going to do much, is it? But at least they're having a go. And I think that's what the message is today, is at least they're now starting to have a go. Oh, God. And we're over here, like, observing all this. It's showing me, like, us all lined up, like Mel Gibson in the Braveheart with our sword and our shield. And we're quite protected. But we're in this line. The naughty maverick Braveheart bikers, we're in this big, long line because our group of awake people has really grown. I often call it the blob movement because once people stick to it, it just keeps building in size. So we're all over here observing these people who are trying to fight off government with this like little flimsy wooden chair and a whip, and they're trying, and the government's like roaring at them like this line, like, rah, like take this, and then, you know, example, throwing renewables at them, throwing attacking farmers, and they've got this little chair. So look, we have to take the positives from this, that they are trying to fight back with the tools that they have. And I think what that means is that they are growing in their wisdom and their knowledge, and like I said, they're opening up to their gut feelings and what they're sensing, but they just are still evolving into who they really are. So they're getting stronger all the time. The fact that they're standing up at all and fighting, we have to take as a positive. And that's what I'm getting. They are at least standing up. So that's what we want to hear on my channel, isn't it? So I think I'll leave you with that today. The image of all of us lined up with all our swords and shields. We're pretty chilled over here, though. We know it's not our battle. So we are observing from afar, and in this really big straight line, they're showing me all of us just lined up. And it goes, the line like goes to infinity now. It's showing me it just goes on and on and on. There's just Braveheart soldiers, which meaning the awake people are just standing shoulder to shoulder, and we're over here, but we're chilled out, and we're letting these people start to fight their own battles. Well, with a chair and a whip. Good luck with that against government. Anyway, they're standing up, so that's all we need to know. There's movement over here. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. Look, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. It's Saturday morning here. I'm going to go do some jobs, and I'll say goodbye from Australia. Take care. Hit the like buttons. Please comment. You know I love hearing from you. Let me know what's happening where you are, and I will say goodbye from Australia. Bye, everybody. Bye.